So the next question I have is regarding the question of self-effulgence, Swayampraka. So, Swayampraka. See, Swayampraka is there in Advaita Vedanta, and we also find it in Bodha Panchadeshika very clearly in the first one. So, but when we talk about Trika and Advaita Vedanta, we have very different stands, and there is often a lot of confusion in that. So I would like when we read it as a beginners, I mean as a student, there is a lot of confusion for us because often we mix up these two thoughts. So how is Swayampraka different in these two systems?
You see, not just that. You'll find the issue of Swayampraka or Swaprakashatva, self-awareness or self-reflexivity or self-reflectivity, translated in many ways. In many other traditions, even in Western philosophies, consciousness is considered reflective in many traditions, Western philosophical traditions. In India, in the Advaita Vedanta, in Yogacara Buddhism, in the Trika Siddhanta, we do consider consciousness as reflective. But that does not mean that we all have come to agree upon a same model of consciousness. For the Advaita Vedantin, consciousness is reflecting anything that manifests within it. Does mean that consciousness is also aware of the act of reflection. It is not even acting. Because what is consciousness, Chaitanya, is the Brahman in Advaita Vedanta, and that Brahman does not have any kriya, any action. So therefore it is not actively reflecting either. Reflection happens, just like the light. You see, the mirror, reflection happens. Doesn't mean that the mirror knows that it is reflecting something. You need to have an awareness. So from the Trika, there is this awareness, and the act of reflecting, the very moment of reflection integrates the act of reflection. So meaning, when I am aware, I am actively aware. My action is not just simple reaction or like a mirror reflecting something. The mirror is not actively reflecting your face. Mirror is not choosing to reflect your face. Consciousness has that freedom from the Trika perspective. Consciousness is actively reflecting, therefore it can sometimes not reflect certain realities and project something else. So therefore there is a difference. But what about the Ācārya Buddhists? They also believe in this reflective nature of consciousness, only that the consciousness there is momentary. The consciousness here is foundational in the sense that it constitutes the sense of temporality, and therefore something that gives the sense of temporality could not itself be an object of temporality itself. Therefore they did not consider this consciousness to be temporal. And we are imposing a lot of other concepts we have, like therefore it is permanent and all. That is our projections. What it is like, do I mean that therefore it is momentary? No. Momentary and permanence are relative terms. When you are aware of something being permanent, you ask a question if something is momentary. When you are aware of something being momentary, then you ask if something is permanent. Both momentariness and permanence are temporal questions, meaning time-based questions. So you need category time for you to make sense of permanence and temporality. But we are considering consciousness as beyond the concept of time. And when you are outside of the concept of time, whether it is temporal or permanent doesn't even make sense, because those are temporal questions. So even for modern philosophers, it's very difficult for them to comprehend. We are talking about what is given to my pure consciousness, and we are not talking about some metaphysical issue of what is out there for consciousness to be. We are not talking about neurological event. We are talking about this reflexively given consciousness to you right now, what you are aware of right now. And is time primary for your consciousness? Can you get beyond time? Can you sometimes be conscious, just be aware of yourself and not be aware of time? Is it necessary that every instant in which you are conscious, there is some type of temporality integral to your consciousness? I don't think so. So what we are not considering is that time itself is a projection, an object of consciousness. If time were not to be an object of consciousness, we would not be aware of temporality. Because I can imagine, because I can experience the sense of time, the flow of time, therefore time exists. Meaning the sense of time is given to my mind, given to my consciousness. And you can't reverse that. You can't consider time as primary. How do you prove the primacy of temporality in absence of consciousness?